was self-congratulation time in the glamour capital of the world again. This week, Academy Awards were handed out to Ordinary People, Coal Miner's Daughter, Fame, Raging Bull, and 9 to 5 was nominated as well. And you know what that means for what we get to choose from at the local theaters this week. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about these movies. I've recommended most of them before, and I'm sure you've seen many clips from them. I do want to say that Ordinary People and Coal Miner's Daughter are the two best of this lot. If you haven't seen them yet, I suggest you go out and do so. There is one movie that I'd like to talk about. Speaking of James Caan, he's starring in a new film this week called Thief. Thief isn't going to be up for any Academy Awards next year or anything like that. It hasn't got that great of a story, but it's technically a very good film to watch. The cinematography, the sets, the lighting, the sound, everything is done very well. The soundtrack keeps you riveted to your seats, provided by a group called Tangerine Dream that did the soundtrack for a Roy Scheider movie a few years back called Sorcerer. Just keeps coming at you. And the cinematography, the whole thing is shot at night. It has a very high gloss look to it, much like a Ryan O'Neal movie called The Driver. Matter of fact, I'll give you an indication of just the look that the film has right here in this scene. That gives you an idea of the look of the film that I was trying to describe to you. There is some violence in the film. It's pretty minimal, but I do have to warn you that when it does hit, it hits pretty hard and pretty graphically, a little bit brutal in parts. The story itself isn't very original, like I was saying. It's Mafia is trying to own James Caan, who's a self-supportive thief, and he performs one deal for this guy and thinks he can get out of it. And in this scene, the Godfather type in this is trying not to let him out of it.
This is payday. It is over.
You know, when you have trouble with the cops, you pay them off like everybody else because that's the way things are done. But not you, huh?
No. They don't run me, and you don't run me.
As I said, it's an overused storyline. Joe Independent tries to buck the system, but whether it's James Caan's acting or the creative way in which this film is shot, it's very interesting the whole way through, at least for me it was. There are several other things that develop, one of which is he's got a girlfriend that he's trying to marry. He's an ex-convict, and he's trying to put his life together now, have a wife and children and all this. And he, as in this scene, he goes into a bar and apparently has just known her a little bit and tries to force her into going with him so he can ask her to marry him. I don't know if it's the new trend of things now lately to go back to the sexist relationships of the 50s where he brutalized the girl into liking you, but with this and with the new Jack Nicholson film Postman Always Rings Twice, it seems to be the case. At any rate, here's the scene.
Look, you were looking forward to this, all right? Come on.
After that really romantic interlude, he wines and dines her at the nearest deli and tells her his horrendous life story in hopes that she'll want to become a part of it.
What is this?
That is my life. Nothing, nobody can stop me from making it happen. And right there, that would be you.
I can't have children. I don't fit into it.
He gives her a couple more, "Oh, I'm just asking you." And she decides, what the heck, you big lug, I'll marry you. So they go off and they buy a kid and they attempt to live happily ever after. Well, I'm not cutting this film down. It has its faults, obviously, but it is a very enjoyable film. And if you've seen these other ones that won Academy Awards, it's a good film to see this week. That was a scene from a well-made, pretty intense movie playing at the Blue Ridge East, Nighthawks. Sylvester Stallone plays the part of a New York City cop whose responsibilities up to this point have been confined to clearing the riffraff off the streets. Now he finds himself stalking an international terrorist.
Helpless. Could have cut the cable. It's a long way down.
That's for the press. Now, you may drop the child.
Oh,
Don't drop this.
Good action, good music, and good cinematography make Nighthawks, much like the recent James Caan movie Thief, a very gripping film to watch. You know, it was just last week that I was rambling on about our craving for heroes and fantasies evidenced in the recent comic book movies. Well, we're now stepping into the sword and sorcery phase. First, the popular cult game sweeping the country, Dungeons & Dragons. Then the 5-part NBC made-for-TV movie series, The Fugitive from the Empire. And now we have our first theatrical film released on the subject, while at least 5 more are on their way, Excalibur. Yet another version of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, this time with an emphasis on Merlin the Magician and the evil Morgana.
Morgana of Cornwall.
You have your father's eyes.
I remember you. When my brother Arthur was born, you came and took him away.
The Quest Knights have failed. They're all dead. I shall come back and take Camelot by force.
At times, it kind of seems like a cross between Camelot and the Holy Grail, but it is a well-made film and seldom loses your attention despite its 2-hour and 20-minute running time.